Welcome to IDA's video channel. In this video, I'll show you pipe properties, structure properties, pipe network properties, and also how to turn the structure masking on and off. If you want to check the pipe properties, you can select pipe either in plan, right click and go to pipe properties, or you can go to profile, select pipe network, right click and go to pipe properties, and finally, if you wish to, you can use a contextual ribbon. Let me go to pipe properties, and then in the information tab you can change the name. You can also change the description. If you swap pipe, what it means swapping the pipe, it means you changing the pipe to another type or another diameter. Then the description will be automatically updated. I will have a next video about how to swap the pipes and structures. If I swap the pipe, the style is automatically assigned for that pipe. So you shouldn't change the style here, but there might be a very specific cases where you need to change the style. Under the part property, this is a place where you can change some of the properties, flow direction method, reference surface, reference alignment, and so on. And there is a lot more. You can change the coordinate start and coordinate slopes. And there are some other properties. If you see DEV properties, that's because I'm connected to IDA's pipe catalog. And it shows me those additional properties we have in our catalog, because the properties that are available as a standard with Civil 3D are not sufficient for pipe network analysis and so on. And there are some user-defined fields as well. So if you want some specific information to be displayed in a plan, let's say in a labels or tables, you can use a pipe user field 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 10, and those can be modified manually and you can display them in a label. Then let me go to rules. Rules are used to lay down the pipe networks based on a specific criteria, and if you create pipe networks with standard Civil 3D tools, the rules are used, but we use IDA's because IDA's tools are more powerful for vertical adjustments and creating pipe networks. So we don't use the rules, but they are here and can be modified if needed. Let me cancel, and I'm going to structure properties. So I select structure, right click, and then I go to structure properties. Under the structure properties in the information tab, you can change the name. The description is automatically assigned from the structure tab when you swap the structure. Again, if you want to change the structure, you should swap the structure. You shouldn't just come here and change the style. Let's say you say this is a water tap, so you just select water tap. That's not the right way of working, because this is just the style. This is not a structure tab. Structure tab is under the part properties. If I come in here, you can see that this is a structure tab, it's a junction structure part tab. And if I change the style, that doesn't have an impact on this property. So you need to use a command which is called swap part command, swap structure, swap pipe. So that will change the type, not just the style. That's very important. Some people tend to change the style, but that's not the right way of working. Although in some specific scenarios, you might need to use that approach, but for now, I won't cover that. So for now, remember, if you want to change the structure type, you should always swap structure, not to change the style. The structures do also have a DEV, Devotech properties, that come from our catalog, IDA's catalog. And there are also some user fields that you can use for your labels and tables. Under the connections, these are all the paths that are connected to the structure. And if you wish to, you can change the invert elevation or centerline elevation, crown elevation. You can copy and paste and so on. Under the catchments, I'm not going there because we have no catchments for bulk water pipelines. And structures do also have rules that are used. If you create pipe network with Civil 3D tools, there are some criteria that are used to adjust the structures. Let me cancel. If you want to go to pipe network properties, you can either select pipe or structure in a plan or in a profile, and then you can go to network properties. There's also an option to use a contextual ribbon network properties. Let me go there. In the network properties under information tab, you can change the name. You can also change the network type. We can keep it under the drainage. It doesn't make sense here, or we can even change it to undefined, because we're using gravity network type for the bulk water pipeline, because originally Civil 3D didn't have pressurized system or pressurized network. So we had to use one network type for all networks. And historically, so that's where it comes from. Unfortunately, pressured systems in Civil 3D are still not well developed or developed enough. We can't use them for our design because there's a lot of functionality missing and we can't do the proper development on top of them. We would love them because the visual appearance is very good, but they're not really that useful. Let me cancel actually for now to quickly show you what I'm talking about. If you go to ribbon home, and then under the pipe network, we have a pipe network creation tools or create pipe network from objects. But then we also have a pressure network creation tools. Those are different network types. Those are actually were developed for water networks. And really the visual appearance is better. But again, the functionality is still very poor and doesn't provide everything we need. So let me go back to network properties. And under the drainage tab or utility tab, I leave it under the drainage. I don't really care. If you want to be very precise, you can use undefined, but for now we can leave it as it is. Under the layout settings, this is a place where you can specify the default labels. You can also change the part list. So we use a part list water for our network, but if you wish to change it later on, you can. You can also set the reference surface if you wish to. So this will be default reference surface for all new objects. But I personally don't do it every time I create a new network, because if I create new objects, I use IDAS tools to assign reference surface or to assign reference alignment. But if you wish to, you can do that. There's also an option to modify the default layers and default name templates. You can see currently the pipes are using P1234 and structures are MH, which is more suitable for, let's say, stormwater and sewer networks. But I'll show you later on how to rename pipes and structures. Under the profile, here are some other settings for the profile labels and layers. Under the sections, this is for the pipes in the section views. And under the statistic, this is quite useful place where you can check the minimum elevation, maximum elevation, number of pipes, number of structures. This is something I check quite often if I get a very big network and the network is very slow. I check the number of objects, because if the number of objects is not very high and the network is slow, then something else is causing the slowness. But if I see a few thousand objects, then I know Civil 3D can't handle it properly. So these are pipe network properties. And finally, I want to show you how to turn on and off the structure masking, either in plan or in a profile. I was in profile, let me zoom to plan. All the structures are currently junctions and they just display circle. If you go to layers, layer manager, let me go there, then I go to filters, excluding XREF, and this is a water, so I go to water, and here are two layers which are called masking in plan, masking in profile. If I turn them on, let me go to plan, you will see that there is a masking. It uses color number 9, and if you use IDAS CTB file, it will print white and it will create kind of mask. And the same applies to profile. But this structure doesn't have a masking in profile view, but some other structures they do have. But I'll show you in the next video how to swap structures.